Live now.
There you are.
Wonderful.
Hi.
Hi, how are you going, Trish?
I'm well. How are you, Rhiannon?
Good. It's nice to see you in color. I've only ever seen your picture in black and white.
Oh, yeah. I know. A friend of mine, a beautiful photographer, she took the photos for me for the book for my for when I was publishing, and she said, "Oh, this is beautiful." And then she moved to a different workplace, and I don't have the color version. All I've got is the black and
Oh
white, so
no.
that's
Well,
okay.
it's a great photo. It looks amazing.
Hmm.
Everyone should check it out on your website. It's beautiful.
Thank you. That's very kind.
Now, for everyone that does come in, please leave a comment. I can see two people watching at the moment, so please leave comments because that's the only way we know who's here. So I would love to know that you are here. Now, one thing that I do want to say is if you go onto the Logan Writers Festival page, you will be able to share it. And you'll be able to put it on your profile and make sure everyone can see it. And then that
Sure.
that makes it a lot easier. So how's your day been?
Yeah, pretty good. I've been teaching from home because I'm a secondary teacher. So I've had classes most of the day. So that's been
What
okay. But I've been sorry,
what grade do you teach? What class do you teach?
I teach, well, generally speaking, I'm trained history music, but I'm also teaching a bit of drama at the moment and some religion and some life skills. So I'm doing a bit of everything these days. But yeah, but mostly my job at my work is to organise arts events.
Oh,
And so with this
excellent.
lockdown, yeah, well, things have slowed down this one week. I should have had 3 events happening this week that didn't happen, but that's all right. That's okay. We'll hopefully come back. But yeah, that's what my day's been pretty chilled. So
Excellent. Well, that's
yeah.
good because lockdown can be really hectic for teachers. I couldn't believe how little how little thanks they got over all of this entire last year. Because my mum used to be a primary school teacher, and
Mm-hmm.
her and I've got friends who are in high school teaching, and I wanted to give them the world. They put so much effort in, and yet so little came back. So, like from me, as not even a mum, thank you for putting in so much
Oh,
effort.
that's lovely. Our parent community is very kind. They're very sweet. They've been sending lovely messages and they're very appreciative of the work we're doing. So that's really nice. I just sometimes it's hard to sort of let go of the control. I really want to know that the kids are doing what I've asked them to do. I can't
Yes.
really see that all the time, but I have to just, hope and pray that they're doing the right thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me a bit about the book that you've written. You have one book,
Ah.
don't you?
Yes, yes. And I never really thought that I would ever write a book. My book is personal story, so it's memoir in its genre, I guess, and it chronicles the story of my son Thomas. When he was 6, he was diagnosed with medulloblastoma, which is a pediatric brain cancer, and uh, it sort of goes through. My book goes through his story and my story with him and our experiences. And when he passed away early 2019, I felt really anxious about forgetting anything that had ever happened, and I felt like I was the holder of all of his memories and his story. So, in an effort to never lose that, I thought I would write it all down, and I did. And then I thought, well, maybe our story could be a help to other people, other families who, because there's no preparing for what we went through. No one thinks it will
Mm.
happen to them, and so I wanted there to be a resource for other families. And then it's, other people have said to me, it's, inspiring, and it's a lovely way to meet my beautiful son, Tom, even though he's not here with us anymore, to know, the sort of amazing soul that he was as he fought through a very, very, horrifying scenario. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's those sorts of things touch so many more people than what we realize. And it's so important to share that story because no one knows what normal is in that time. And really, there is no normal. So for you to be able to share that is so powerful. And I'm sure it's helped hundreds, if not thousands, of mothers and fathers as they've processed similar things?
Yeah, I am. I'm still on some groups with parents of medulloblastoma children and bereaved parents as well, um, and I've met a lot of people through, that I would never have met through this, and I, people all over the world, families have gotten a hold of my book, and it's really helped them in the process. It's helped them after they've lost their child. And when I get messages from them, I feel like I didn't write the book for, to make money or for any other reason apart from to help myself and to help other people get through something that is just so devastating. And I think not feeling so alone in it when you can read someone else has been there as well is quite validating and really, really one way that can be a help, I guess, when you don't feel like there's a way you can help. So, yeah.
It's one of the true gifts of story. That's what I find. When you can share that sort of thing, when you can share real life stories, whether it's in the form of memoir or in fiction, being able to convey humanity through words it's magic. It's absolute magic.
Yeah.
So how did you go with writing such a deep and personal tale?
Well, like I said, I felt really anxious a few months, in the months that followed losing Tom, and so I started to write it down, and then I got involved with you probably know these guys, the Ultimate World Publishing, the 48-hour publishing group, anyway, and so
Yes,
I signed on. Yes, Natasha and Stuart, and so I signed on with them for their author program because I'm a terrible procrastinator, but I was also in this, I wasn't working and I was hurting anyway, and I knew it would hurt to write it, but it was the energy that I could spend on Tom that I wanted to. So, and they suggested, just speak it and dictate it, and then we'll have it transcribed. And I said, you never hear anything. I'd cry the whole time. So I typed mine, I just sat there and I figured out how I wanted to structure our story. And it just flowed right out of me, but I bawled the whole time. And looking back over the photos and trying to remember all those details, it was heart-wrenching, but it was also so important for me, I think, as well. So I definitely, recommend when people are struggling with something to, the challenge of writing is a really good one to take up, because it can be cathartic, it can be reflective, it can be so powerful. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
That's what I did. I booked time with myself and I just typed. I said, I'm going to hit this one terribly hard chapter, and off I went on. And I gave myself a timeline because, I could have been 10 years, if I hadn't really pushed myself to a very distinct goal. And, and then I had these people behind me, push, and I got it done. So, and I'm really proud of myself because, like I said, I never thought I would be an author, and it's sort of the journey of Tom and me. So it was good to have him there with me.
Absolutely. It gives me chills to think about it. And knowing that, like, one of my family members recently lost her infant son, and so knowing that there are other women who have gone through this bereavement, they're willing to talk about it, willing to share that, it adds connection that no one else can share with them at that moment. No one else can share with them at that time, because no one else has gone through that except for other mothers. It's so powerful.
I would agree with that. I've got a wonderful support system, network of, my family and my friends, and they're all brilliant, but I find that I get the most connection and most support from just having a very simple, even brief chat with other bereaved parents. And I will seek them out, and we're all seeking each other out because we're these sort of invisible friends, because you don't know until you know that someone else has been through the same thing. And they might say the same thing that another friend would say, but it just means so much more coming from them who has lived it.
Yeah.
And you can say all the things that that they'll understand, and you won't get those gross cliches that society has just fallen back on. And so the community of bereaved parents is so important, and I cherish every chat I have with other bereaved parents. Yeah.
There's a difference in that energy. Like you can really feel it when someone else has gone through something similar. That energy is very honest, and they're not afraid to have that bit of rawness. They're not afraid to say the thing that you're thinking, because so many other people, they're being so tentative, they don't know what you're feeling, and they kind of shy away from things. They want to redirect it. They just want you to be happy again. And then someone else who's gone through the same situation is able to be like, no, that's fine. That's a normal feeling. It right there. That's okay. You feel that. And then we will go and get tea.
Yeah, well, and I think, society continues to sort of struggle with how to deal with grief. And, this is my perspective. Other people might have others, but I would say losing a child is, the hardest person to lose. And I think when you've had that much trauma sort of, pile itself on top of you, it really, other people around, they just don't know how to help because they've never experienced that. So it's no one's fault that that's the case. But I think the more we can talk openly about, grief and bereavement, and consider the ideas that there is no timeline on it, there is no set way to grieve, there is nothing that you need to say apart from to be there. You don't have to, channel God or channel, fate or come up with any other random reason. No, that's not helpful necessarily at all. You just happy for someone to have a listen, or just someone to sit with, or have a cup of tea. Yeah. Have a glass of wine. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And sometimes, a bit of brandy, but you never know. I'm not promoting alcoholism.
Depends on the time of the day.
It's 10 o'clock somewhere, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I used to work on cruise ships, and we'd have a joke where we'd be like, okay, it's 5 o'clock in which country?
Yeah. Happy hour somewhere.
Yeah. So you're also doing a bit of speaking, aren't you?
Oh yes, when COVID allows. I've spoken at a few events, and I'm happy to be joining the Logan Writers Festival coming up, which will be great. But yeah, I launched my book beginning of 2020, so I hit my stride just as COVID came along. So I've done a bit of media here and there. I like to sort of particularly jump on the months of May and September. So those months are, May is Brain Cancer Awareness Month, and September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. And so I really like to get Tom's story out there, advocate for funding, advocate for awareness, and try and make a difference, try and harness the energy of my love for little Tom, and send it out into the world. So that's when I tend to do more of a push in terms of speaking gigs and stuff. So yeah,
those are very good times for that. I think the only place that wouldn't fit in is probably with the year 12s, because that's when all of their exams are starting up. But besides that,
it's September, and it's September holidays, so half of September is the kids are on break and stuff. But I do it in my own ways. Like in the May just gone, and the September before that, I because I couldn't do a lot of other things that I would have, in September of last year with COVID, in terms of fundraising, I gave myself a challenge every day to do something different that would make some sort of, impact. And so I made little picnic packs that I would give to someone who was obviously struggling on the street, and it had, some food and some other little things in it, and a little story about Tom, so that they, they've met someone and they've had this nice interaction, and Tom's story has reached someone else. I gave gift packs to mums in the oncology ward. I, sent flowers to all of Tom's and my other son, Cam, Tom's brother, Cam, to their teachers at school, and they were yellow flowers because it was, September is gold. It's go gold in September for childhood cancer. So I do all those little things as a little challenge, advocacy challenge for myself, and it's, media spots and different things like that. So yeah, but I think this year, this September coming up, I'm doing a big blood drive. So I've got a a big amount of people coming to all donate, because 30 to 40% of blood donation goes to cancer patients. And then, I'm trying to organise some stuff through my school community, but again, September's tricky. And then we're supporting a big gala ball for rhabdomyosarcoma as well, which is another type of pediatric cancer. So yeah, lots of stuff on the boil, but yeah, it's important. And we also just we did a big charity fundraiser, and please don't think that I'm an exercise person. I'm absolutely not. But,
oh yeah.
Once a year we do this fitness challenge called the Stadium Stomp, which I think didn't happen in many cities because COVID, but it happened in Brisbane. It just got in before the lockdown, where you climb 5,000 stairs at the Gabba, and you raise, you'd hope to raise money with your team to do it. And so we raised over $7,000, which was great. And we gave that to the Cure Brain Cancer Foundation. So yeah,
that is
really
beautiful.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's on a lot of people's bucket lists to give blood. I've noticed, like, a lot of people like, I want to get a tattoo, and I want to, like, I don't know, swim with dolphins or something like that.
Yeah.
But so many people, when you speak to them, they're like, oh, I want to give blood, and they don't realize how easy it is. It's still on my bucket list. I'm not going to lie. I haven't gotten around to it, but I've been planning a writers' festival, so I feel like that's a break.
Yeah.
But yeah, knowing your blood type is really important because, like you said, it goes to cancer treatment patients, and it also goes to a lot of new mums. So they lose a lot of blood during birth, so they get blood to make sure that they can survive. And knowing your blood type is really important because some people are better blood donators than other people. Some people are the universal donors, and other people are the universal receivers. Yes.
That's right.
So yeah, I would highly recommend that everyone go and donate blood. Just go and check out how easy it is. If you have any links, I am happy to share them. And probably after the Writers' Festival, I'll be back into it.
Well, my mum, she was a genetic scientist, so she was always, very keen to give blood. So she encouraged us, and all of us girls, we were sort of happy to go and give blood. But I can't count the amount of blood transfusions that Tom had, platelet transfusions that he needed when he, his neutropenia, his immunosuppressed so terribly. So, and also platelets. Women can't give platelets as well as men can. They prefer men to give platelets because I don't know if it's a hormonal thing or what it is, but in terms of blood cells and things like that. So they're always desperately looking for platelet donations because they also only last a small amount of time as compared to whole blood. And I give plasma. You can give plasma every 2 weeks, whereas you can give whole blood every 3 months. So, and like it does, as long as you're sort of, mostly healthy and you, I don't know, you haven't been to England when Mad Cow was out and things like that, you can, they'll, it's just a really simple checklist to check off, and it's not that bad, really. I think of all the, the things that Tom had to endure as a 6-7-year-old child, and to think just one little needle in your arm for 20 minutes is not that big a deal. So
you can hurt yourself worse by pinching your skin than what the needle feels like.
Absolutely.
And just don't look. Take your friends, make it a fun day out sort of thing, and go and have biscuits afterwards.
They always give you biscuits and poppers. Yep. I even had pies and sausage rolls last time I went.
Oh my gosh, spoiled.
Yeah. Yep.
I remember I grew up in Nowra, and the blood drive there, I would go with a couple of people who would regularly donate blood, but I was too young. And they would get prizes for donating blood, but how many times they donated blood? It was like key rings and
little
bracelets. Little badges. All sorts of things. So you get little trophies for how much you've donated, which I think is, it's quite cute.
Well, we'll have a team. We're Team Tom, and so all of our donations will sort of all be added together, and then our team gets to know just how, because every time you donate, it goes to saving 3 lives. So if we have 30 people donating, then that's, Army lives. It's so amazing. So, and then every time we donate as a team together and even individually, it keeps adding to that total, which is like part of Tom's legacy. And I think also writing the book was about a legacy for Tom, and working towards improving outcomes and treatments for cancer is part of Tom's legacy. So I'm always going to be saying, come on, let's just go. You can't afford it. I understand. We can always just go down and give blood. So, yeah.
You know what? I feel like more people would be willing to give blood than money.
Yeah. Sometimes it depends how. Even my husband, he's such a wuss about needles. I go, come on, mate. And he's like, no, I can't do it. I'm like, come on, this is ridiculous. Yeah, but women, we have a higher threshold. I don't want to ostracize anyone, but anyway.
Absolutely. No, I'm a trained acupuncturist, so I get.
Oh, you must deal with a bit of that, yeah.
Yeah, me and needles, we're like best mates, but my partner as well can't stand needles. Absolutely. And it's like, it's the most relaxing thing. What are you talking about? He's happy to get a tattoo, but not acupuncture. Wow. Strange one.
Very strange.
So tell me a bit about what you're going to be talking about at the Writers' Festival.
Well, I'm in the marquee of the story behind the story, I believe.
That's correct.
The marquee title. And so I guess I'll be talking a little bit about Tom's and my story and how I sort of weaved our story into a book that would not only be sort of follow this narrative of our journey, but also the practical advice that I've put in there. And I also did so Tom and I'm a music teacher, and my boys have always just had to endure the music that I love. I've never let there be like the Wiggles were never in my car. It was always, mum's playlist. I just wanted them to be aware of proper music from the beginning. As lovely as educational children's music is, I'm like, not in my car. Anyway, and so when we're at the hospital, Tom and I, we were listening to music all the time. When Tom first came out of his resection surgery, which was his second brain surgery, he acquired a brain injury called posterior fossa syndrome, which took away all of his ability, well, everything that we take for granted, anything voluntary. He couldn't eat, he couldn't speak, he couldn't sit, he couldn't use his hands, he couldn't walk, he lost every bit of motor function apart from breathing, and eventually he could see and he could hear. And so in ways that we would use music to calm him or to motivate him in rehab, or just to pass the time, we'd listen to tunes or sing along and have a dance once he learned to speak again. So music was really important to me. So I've actually embedded a playlist, sort of a Spotify playlist with each chapter, so you can sort of listen to that song that goes with that part of our journey. And sometimes it'll be a Tom song, sometimes it's a mum song. And so as people read, they can sort of listen to the music that was really important to us, to one of us or both of us at the time. And, on Tom's anniversaries and his birthday and various, we'll listen, and my sisters will say, oh my gosh, one of Tom's songs just came on the radio, and I just felt him right there. So, I think I'll talk a little bit about how music has sort of shaped sort of my life and how I needed it to be a part of the book without sort of, engaging in copyright infringement or anything like that. And just go through sort of the strategies that I use to bring our story together and out to the world. Yeah.
It's so special. So many people try and put playlists together for their books, but that actually has such a beautiful meaning behind it. That's so powerful.
Yeah.
And for someone who has music education as well, that is like, it's even more, it's got extra layers, and I love that.
Yeah. And I think that you're not going to hear much thrash metal. Not that there's anything wrong with that style, but I just every song had a story, and I was all about sharing the stories, and I couldn't share the story without the songs. So yeah,
I love
some
that.
of them are they're so beautiful, and I've come across so many more now. I wrote a series of blog articles the year after I published the book. I'm about to get started back into throwing a few more on the website, but I've found that I've got all these new songs now that are helping me with grief and understanding and expressing all of that sort of stuff as well. So my list keeps getting added to as well. So it's good.
Do you have access of that list?
Yeah, it's in the book in the introduction. So there's, and it's
excellent.
also got the list at the back. So yeah. So people can just search it up when they read the book. So
I'm just gonna check and see if we have any questions. Hang on. I've got so many links that I've been throwing up everywhere. I've got to sift through everything now. And there's always a little bit of a delay as well. So I'll look for a video and I'll be like, oh yeah, that looks like the video. And it's like, nope, that was this morning's. Oh. Have you found that, how far has your book gone? How many different people do you think it's reached?
Well, I know that it's in the major children's hospices, because the sort of middle part of the book talks about Tom's palliative care and when Tom passed away. So I've received messages from parents that I've never met that have found my book in that library and read it, and it's prepared them for, you know, the days leading up to losing their child, and they've reached out to me to tell me how important our story was for them. I recently received another message from a family, and I've been following their little boy because the cases were almost identical, the age, the type of cancer, everything, the relapse, and then this young little boy passed away about 3 months ago, and they reached out to me and said, you know, my husband read the book while we're going through it. I couldn't, but now I'm reading the book, and it's really important. And I've just been talking to a woman in the Netherlands, and so she's also in that palliative care time. So yeah, I know that people all over the world, in North America, Canada, through Europe and the UK, I've reached families all over there, but especially in Australia, and that, you know, that's one of the main reasons I wrote the book. So it's so precious to me that that those connections have been made, and I've been able to be a help, because there was nothing good about the whole thing to go through it, but there's some good to come from it later. And I know that sounds like a really rubbish cliche, but it's nice to know that you know, Tom's story is helping people, and he loved to help people as a kind soul. So yeah.
That's gorgeous.
Oh.
It's like when you're in the thick of these things, no one can tell you. It's the wrong thing to say that this will get better at some stage. It just, nothing makes you feel like it's going to get better because you're in that moment. And so just having the knowledge that someone else has gotten through it, that's kind of what makes that difference.
Yeah, I think so.
You see that someone else is at the other end.
Yeah. And I really didn't think that I would survive it. And I know that, you know, lots of other people might think the same thing. But and you don't really want to survive it. I'll say that as well. But you know, you do, and you know, you find other ways to find purpose and find joy again. So yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have gone through some kind of bereavement, but like you said earlier, going through that of a child, that's got to be the hardest. And you're really courageous for making your way through it and for coming out the end with a book that's helping others. So like that is something that will mean a lot to so many people.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for chatting with me today. This has been phenomenal, and I'm trying not to tear up. I've been trying really hard for the majority of it, but we got there. So thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to seeing your talk at the Logan Writers Festival on the 10th and 11th of September. If anyone would like to get hold of Trish, she has a beautiful website. It's at trishcarpenter.com, nice and simple. And I'm sure you can leave her some messages below. So thank you again so much. And we will see each other in just a few weeks.
Yay! Hopefully.
Well, you know what? Masks or not, I would. And I think I said to a council member the other day, I was like, I will postpone the festival before I make it fully online,
Yeah.
So even if it's not the 10th and 11th, it won't be too far after that. We just make sure
Yeah.
that, everything's safe.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
beautiful. Well, you have a fantastic evening, and I
I
will
will.
see you in September.
Sounds good. Thanks, Rhiannon.
Okay. Bye, Trish.
Bye.